For one local high school student, history comes alive in the form of personal conversations with local Princeton area veterans. Former Marine Brooks Dyer was flying reconnaissance planes in the early 1960s when he and his colleagues made a startling discovery: Russian radar signals coming from Cuba.
It was shortly thereafter that the so-called Cuban Missile Crisis broke, because we realized they were about to install missiles in Cuba that could reach probably all the way to New York, Washington, D.C., and halfway across the country.
Incredible moments of history like these can be found throughout the area in veterans. The problem is that with 1,100 World War II veterans dying daily, these stories may be lost.
I don't think my story is important, but I think there are a lot of veterans who've certainly sacrificed a lot of, some of them their lives, of course, and made a lot of sacrifices, and I think it's important that we remember what they did and who they were.
Many veterans have found that listening ear in 16-year-old Derek Welski, a junior at Princeton High School. Derek's project stems from his own experiences with his friends.
We were watching Saving Private Ryan, and one of my friends didn't know about Omaha Beach, and I was really taken aback by that as well. Because these are people who died and people who sacrificed so much, and people our age don't even know about that.
To engage people his own age, he uses a medium they can relate to, with everything posted on the internet at his own website. But Derek wants to bring history alive as well.
History is a textbook. Basically, that's where you learn it from. And I noticed that a lot of people aren't really interested in that because it's just reading. So in my project, it's kind of on more of a personal level.
Derek may need a little logistical help from his family, who sometimes drive him to the interviews. But for the veterans he interacts with, he is more than just a high school kid.
Derek takes a very keen interest in all veterans, and I just find it very refreshing that someone his age would feel that way.
For more information, you can go to Derek's website at www.veteransproject.us. In Princeton Township, Lauren Unger, WZBN News.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back for one final segment of Community Corner right here on Patriot 8. And we're now joined by Derek Welski. He's involved with the Princeton Area Veterans Project. And Derek, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me on.
It's great to have youth involved with projects like this. We're going to hear all about the project. You're 16 years old?
I'm 16. I'm a junior at Princeton High School.
Those are great years. I remember those years very well.
I'm really enjoying high school.
Some of those years I don't want to remember so well, but a lot of them I do. Princeton Area Veterans Project, what's that all about?
It's a project I started over the summer. I've been interviewing veterans from Princeton and the greater Princeton area and collecting their oral histories. This actually isn't my first exposure to oral histories. I interviewed my grandfather when I was in 6th grade, and I will eventually publish a book compiling all these interviews.
Okay, so you're going out there getting interviews from veterans who have been in wars, and what are you doing with that after you get this data?
Well, I'm interviewing veterans from different American wars, like you said, from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and eventually next week I'll be interviewing a veteran who's in Grenada. But I'm interviewing veterans. I'm using a MP3 recorder, and eventually I'll be putting these on my website. And like I said, eventually I will publish a book.
I think that's wonderful because I think these veterans, they do have a tremendous story to tell, and there really isn't an outlet to tell it. And is that part of the reason why you started something like this up?
Well, I really want to reach out to children my age, my peers, and people younger than me, just so they can see how interesting our community is, how there are veterans who've been through so much and suffered, and just did so much for our country, and also just to spark some interest as well.
And that's very noble of you, because I don't think there are too many 16-year-old kids out there that are thinking that way. And if there are a lot more kids like you out there, we certainly have a bright future out there. And now, when you're speaking with these veterans, what are the stories you're hearing? You must be hearing some fascinating stories.
I'm hearing a lot of really great stuff because I'm a history buff, so I'm just really interested in it. One story that comes to mind is I interviewed a general who was a drafter of the Marshall Plan, which helped post-World War II Europe. Another individual I interviewed was a navigator of a B-29 flying fortress, and that was really interesting.
Yeah, and you look at these people, they look like normal people just living their lives in Princeton or wherever, and here they have such an amazing story to tell.
That's actually one of the reasons why I'm doing this project. I'm trying to shed some light on these amazing people, to show that our community is so interesting, has so many just great people, so many really interesting veterans. And just in a sense, that creates a greater sense of community awareness.
And how do the veterans feel about retelling these stories? Are they really into it? They're enjoying it? And
I can't think of one veteran that didn't come out with a smile on his face. They're all really happy just to talk to someone who's interested in the subject. And they know that through my project, I'll be reaching out to kids younger than me, and they know that their stories will be retold and remembered.
yeah, I guess, like I was saying earlier, it's probably a great outlet for them. Maybe they've been keeping it inside of them, inside of themselves all these years, and they're finally able to kind of let it go and let people know about what they've been through. And now, with this, where are you looking to take it? I guess you're right at the moment. You're just interviewing as many veterans as possible.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. Right now, I'm putting my interviews on my website. They're MP3 files, so that allows people to, especially, this is actually one of the reasons why I have a website, just to reach out to kids. But the files allow for people to listen to the interviews. So eventually I'll put those on. And then, like I said before, I want to write a book with a compilation of all the interviews.
Well, you're certainly off to a good start there, and that would be a book I'd love to read, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers would love to read something like that. What are you learning from hearing these veterans speak? What types of things are you learning when you speak with them?
Well, there's really one major theme that I've heard, and that with dedication and with hard work, really anything is possible. That's really a story that I've heard a lot.
Yeah. And who are you reaching out to now? I know you're kind of basing this around the Princeton area. Can somebody, let's say, out of the Princeton area contact you and they can be included with this?
It's Princeton area and the greater Princeton area as well. So it's just, I'm focusing on that because it's my community. I really want to shed some light on my community and just to show people how interesting it is.
And how can people find out more about the Princeton Area Veterans Project?
I have a website at www.princetonveterans.us. Or www.veteransproject.us.
Okay.
And I also have an email at derek@veteransproject.us, or you can call me at the Princeton Veterans Project home line, telephone line, which is 609-924-5285.
Okay, and what type of information is presently on your website? Because I'm sure that's just fascinating, going to a website like that. And
Just contacting me, giving you some information about myself. How I'm a student at PHS, Princeton High School, and just how I'm a history buff, and just the goals of my project.
All right, Derek, I wish you a lot of luck with this. I think it's fantastic what you're doing, and
Thanks a lot.
Hopefully we'll get some more veterans heading your way to chat with you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Everybody, that is Derek Welski talking about the Princeton Area Veterans Project. We appreciate his time. Again, if you're a veteran, go check out Derek and get in touch with him and tell your story. My name is Rick Adams. Thanks for checking us out this evening. We'll get to do it again tomorrow night. Have yourself a good night. Bye.
Thank you, Mayor, for your wise words. I'm now going to introduce the youngest member of the Spirit of Princeton Committee, a young man named Derek Welski, who's a senior at Princeton High School and is doing an oral history of the Princeton veterans from Princeton. And Derek, if you'll come up, please, and update us.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Brooks Dyer, for that introduction. Hello, my name is Derek Welski, and I've been asked to give an update on the recent progress of the Princeton Area Veterans Project. 2 years ago, I began working with the Princeton Area veterans from all contemporary American conflicts. With the support of my community and the spirit of Princeton, I've interviewed, documented, and preserved the wartime experiences of veterans living in my community from World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, Grenada, the Gulf War, and the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. My goal was to introduce our community to its veterans, so that all, young and old, would understand our veterans' lives and sacrifices. To date, 25 local area veterans have had their stories documented. The culmination of the Princeton Area Veterans Project will be a book detailing the full breadth of the stories I have heard. I am proud to report the book, Community Courage, The Stories of Princeton Area Veterans Project, will be available to the public in the fall of 2007. All proceeds from the book will be donated to Veterans Affairs. For a moment now, I'd like to consider the occasion that has brought us all here today. Veterans Day offers us a rare opportunity to gather and honor history and to honor the contributions of our country's veterans. From the skies over Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis to the trenches of World War II in France, our veterans fought long and hard to ensure our right to freedom. I would like to thank Lieutenant Colonel Dyer and the members of the Spirit of Princeton Committee for their efforts in organizing today's events. These proceedings fittingly honor our veterans and prove that Princeton cares about its veterans and will never forget. I encourage us to continue honoring this legacy of veterans not only for one day in November, but for the other 364 days of the year. Living among us, whether they are your neighbors, family, friends, or acquaintances, are veterans with their stories left untold. Seek out our local veterans, shake their hands, learn about their experiences, and thank them for the valiant efforts in service to this great country. The stories that demand attention should be heard. I myself have felt humbled, instructed, and inspired by stories of love and loss, triumph, and sacrifice. Each one of us has had the opportunity to hear these stories firsthand. We may feel a new wave of respect and admiration for the people who have sacrificed for this country. I certainly have. Thank you.